How can a 3-2-1 buy-down loan incentive be used to lower a buyer's interest rate and get a deal done in the Silicon Valley real estate market? This is your August 2023 Silicon Valley market update. In this video, I'm going to provide an update on mortgage rates and the latest Silicon Valley real estate market data through July. Then I'm going to go over what this 3-2-1 buy down loan incentive is all about and go through a case study of a recent sale where the seller was offering this incentive. Finally, I'm going to circle back to this question of how the 3-2-1 buy down loan incentive can be used to lower buyers' interest rate and facilitate getting a deal done in this high interest rate environment that we're in. Let's take a look at mortgage rates. At the beginning of August, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage was at about 6.9%. And at the time of this recording, interest rates have been on the rise. They're now at over 7% for the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. At the same time, major institutions in the mortgage industry are forecasting mortgage rates to come down over the next year. By the third quarter of 2024, the 30-year fixed rate mortgage is projected to be at about 5.2%. Keep that in mind when I go through the 3-2-1 buy down loan incentive and how a buyer could have the opportunity to refinance after 1, 2, or 3 years. Now let's get into our market data through July 2023. The median home sales price in both Santa Clara County and San Mateo County was at about $1.8 million. This was flat for Santa Clara County from June to July, and it was down a bit from June to July in San Mateo County. Now, if you look back a year ago to July of 2022, you can see that the median price was roughly at that level. So we're back to levels that we were seeing a year ago, which was the point at which the Fed was aggressively raising interest rates and the real estate market was softening. Now, from June to July, average days on market was about flat in both counties, 16 days for Santa Clara County, 21 days in San Mateo County. And the sale to list price ratio was also flat from June to July at over 100%. The number of sales from June to July was down in both counties. That is reflective of seasonal patterns as we were getting into the summer season. Sales do slow down. Active listings was up in Santa Clara County but down in San Mateo County, and the amount of inventory was up slightly in both counties, but below 2 months in both San Mateo and Santa Clara County. Let's get into the 3-2-1 buy down loan incentive and how it's used in this current high interest rate environment. The seller in a transaction agrees to buy down the buyer's mortgage in the first 3 years of the loan term as follows: 3 percentage points less in year 1, 2 percentage points less in year 2, and 1 percentage point less in year 3. Hence the term 3-2-1. The idea here is that the buyer gets lower interest rates in those first 3 years, and hopefully by that time, interest rates overall will have come down and the buyer can refinance to a lower rate by year 4 when the interest rate will adjust back to the original mortgage rate. Let's walk through an example here. Let's say that the buyer can get a 30-year fixed rate mortgage at 7% for the purchase of a home. If the seller were to offer a 3-2-1 buy-down loan incentive, then in year one, the buyer's mortgage rate would be 7% less 3% equals 4%. So they're getting a 4% rate in that first year, which is a huge savings on the interest cost. In year two, the buyer's rate is 7% less 2% or 5%. And finally, in year three, the rate is at 6%. Now, as we saw, mortgage rates are projected to come down over the next year. If they were to go down to 5.2% during year three or even before that, then the buyer would have the opportunity to refinance their mortgage to a 30-year fixed at 5.2%. They can do that before their original loan adjusts back to 7% in that fourth year. So if all goes well, the buyer gets a lower interest rate in year one and year two, and then hopefully their interest rates are in that low to mid 5% range by year three, and they can go ahead and refinance. Here's a case study of a recent sale. It's a single-family home in Belmont, and the seller was offering a 3-2-1 buy-down. This house has 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, and 1170 square feet of living space. It's in a quiet neighborhood in Belmont, the Homeview neighborhood, and it did have quite a bit of remodeling done in recent years. The original list price was $1.8 million, and that is on the high side for a home in Belmont of that size. Again, 3 bedrooms, 1 bath, only 1170 square feet. I myself hosted several open houses at this house, and buyers were a bit deterred by the fact that it only had 1 bathroom. Most buyers are looking for at least 2 bathrooms. The seller did do a price reduction down to $1.695 million, and at the same time we were promoting this 3-2-1 buy down incentive. Overall, as soon as the price was reduced and this incentive was being offered, the house did get into contract. Overall, it was on the market for 31 days. Now, the final sales price has yet to be disclosed, but you could see that perhaps that 3-2-1 buy down incentive played a role in attracting a buyer, in conjunction, of course, with that price reduction. Getting back to the original question on how a 3-2-1 buy down incentive helps get a transaction done in this high interest rate environment. From the seller's perspective, the seller is covering the cost of that interest rate difference in those first 3 years. And that cost can add up to tens of thousands of dollars in the price ranges that we're in and the loan amounts that we're in here in Silicon Valley. Hopefully, the seller can recover that cost and more with a relatively higher sales price and a faster sale. From the buyer's perspective, the buyer gets relief on interest costs in those first 3 years, and therefore may be willing to pay a relatively higher price than if that incentive were not being offered. Hopefully, the buyer can refinance and lock in a lower fixed rate on or before the rate adjusts at the beginning of year 4. Putting all these perspectives and factors together, the conclusions that I'm drawing are that buyers should be aware of this potential incentive, and they should ask their agent if the seller is willing to provide the 3-2-1 buy down incentive. Of course, it's going to depend on the attractiveness of the house and the demand for that particular house on the market. So it's dictated by the situation. And finally, real estate agents on both sides of the transactions should be able to help negotiate and document this 3-2-1 buy down incentive in the purchase agreement. Of course, working with the buyer's lender to make sure that the lender would accommodate that incentive and would be administering the provisions of that incentive. As next steps, you can download the free guides that I have at the URL seen here, as well as in the description below this video. I have a free seller's guide, a free buyer's guide for summer of 2023. I also have a first-time home buyer's guide, which is a really useful resource for a buyer, even if they're not a first-time home buyer. And finally, these market update slides are available in the Google Drive folder that I have at the URL seen here. Reach out to me if you'd like a free consultation on buying or selling a home in Silicon Valley. And again, if you found value in this video, please do hit that like and subscribe button below. I'm Philip Ma with eXp Realty, and I look forward to talking with you soon.